Every patch of grass has the potential to become a skyscraper. All it needs is to be put under construction. Welcome back to yet another episode of Under Construction SA. I'm your host, Thuso Motsomane. And if you are tuning in for the first time, please click on that subscription button. And as well, please click on that notification button that every time we drop an episode, you are notified. And as well, guys, please like, please share with people that might find our piece of content or this content very valuable. And today I have a very special guest. You know, every week our guests are special. Every week. But we're taking this thing to another level. I have Mr. Nkululeko here, who's a businessman, and he's going to be telling us everything about his business, how he got into it. Mr. Nkululeko, how are you?
So how are you?
Oh, I'm okay, man. We're pleased to have you. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to interview you. So, to people who are watching and people maybe who don't know you and are encountering you for the first time, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as an adventurer. I'm someone who goes out on each day looking for how to better themselves and opportunities and learn and just enjoy each and every day that comes with all its challenges and with all its opportunity as well in equal measure. So that's who I am. I'm currently based in Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal, born in the Eastern Cape, East London, and then grew up in the Eastern Cape, came here because of work opportunities and because of the entrepreneurial vision that I had for myself. And then I went into a business. So that's who I say. I would say I'm an adventurer.
Wow. You know, every time someone speaks about the Eastern Cape, I smile and glow up because I spent 4 years in the Eastern Cape. And it's crazy. I always tell the story that I read Kaya Dlangas to quote myself before. Okay. And then when I went, I saw literally everything and the way people behave, the beautiful mountains and everything else. So maybe for someone who doesn't know the Eastern Cape, which part of the Eastern Cape or East London did you grow up in? How was it growing up in the Eastern London? Can you give us a picture of your childhood?
I didn't necessarily grow up in East London. I went to East London. I was born there, but I then went to Port Elizabeth and stayed in Port Elizabeth for a few years. And unfortunately, my mother passed away, so I had to go and stay with my aunt in a town called Alice Etikeni in the Amatole district of the Eastern Cape, which is close to King Williamstown in East London. And I grew up there up until my standard 5. And then I went to another town called Bedford because there were no high schools in Etikeni. And then I had to go to a neighboring town called Bedford, which is I standard 6 and standard 7. And then I went to East London and stayed briefly in Tansane, and then also went to stay in Amalinda, where I completed my matric. So that is basically my movements. I was a mover. I didn't stay in one place for more than 5 years. So yeah, because of my family construct anyway. So I had to sort of move around for various reasons. But yeah, so I stayed about 5 Eastern Cape cities, but throughout the whole province, the key thing is the heritage, as you're saying, the beauty of the views and the scenes, and also the culture of education and learning, and also the wanting to do better. I think that's what people in the Eastern Cape excel in wanting to do better and wanting to shine and excel. Hence, they normally say they represent South Africa in a lot of things. But it's all about trying to be your best, basically. And it's an ethos that one is brought up in, and in terms of a very challenging environment for you to go out. I've never seen someone from the Eastern Cape who's not necessarily an introvert, but someone whose mindset is internal and internally focused, but they're always out there, always willing to learn in environment and basically. So that's my upbringing, and then I moved to KZN after that.
Okay. Oh, it's interesting how you explain the Eastern Cape, and I'm sure people who are watching would really love to go. The way you are just listening to you, the way you speak about highly of the Eastern Cape and its people. I feel like I have to go back, you know. But I want to ask you about the period where you lost your mom, if you don't mind. What do you think that did to you? What did that change in you? How did that shape the man that you are today?
Okay. No, it was a pain. I was young. I don't think I appreciated what was happening than now. At that time, it was something that happened. I could see what was happening, but I did not have the mind or the capacity to reason to say what is happening. At a later stage, when I was growing up, then I then saw, okay, this is the situation that I'm in. I think it was a matter of growing up and not being cushioned. I think that played a role in my upbringing, and that made me not to be restricted by parental constraints or being in someone controlling your decisions. So I think I had a leeway when it came to decision making about my own life. As much as you find that my sisters, my brothers, siblings, and aunts and uncles did have a contribution, but I think it would have been different had it been my mother, because she would have had the authority to say, you won't do this, you will do this. But I was more brought up in an environment where there was a consultative relationship with the stakeholders in my life. So that then played a role in terms of allowing my own route in certain decisions, and that on its own opened opportunities for me. But there was guidance and like people playing different roles. But I think there was a lot of allowing me to own up to my own decisions, basically. And that's the thing that was critical in my upbringing, without having someone who sort of cushioned me. So also I was forced by that environment of not having a mother to grow up at a much more faster rate than my peers, because I understood very well that I did not have a cushion to fall on. So I need to quickly grow up and understand my environment and situation and take the correct decisions for my future, basically.
Wow, man. So what would you say then, with your upbringing and the way you brought up, what made you end up in business? How did you get into the business journey?
It's always been a family thing. That's the first thing that I can say from my grandmother. When my grandmother was had a tuck shop, and she used to sell during holidays and festive season, and sell to the beaches. And my mother and her siblings were also helping in that business, because their father, which is my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, passed away very early. So they had to help the family, because they were quite a big family. So through that, the whole entrepreneurial journey is something that was then fostered from my grandmother to our parents, which is my maternal parents, in terms of my mother, my uncles, and my aunts. And it was something that was there because all of them, whether they were educated or not educated, whether professions or not, they were all in business in one form or the other. And then it then fostered to us, the following generation, myself and my cousins. And because during school holidays, we would then go and work. One of my aunts had a recycling business early in the late 90s, early 2000s, which we grew up in. Every school holidays, it was standard to go and work there in the business and understand. And because it was a family business, we could also see the back side of it. Not only the front end where you interact with customers, but you also had to see the operations side of it. And then my other uncle had a business he was selling livestock and produce. He had another business that they had a nightclub or entertainment center. So all of those environments that we were rotating in then filtered to us. So even in my cousins, we've got a lot of people that are professionals. Some of them, they're doctors, they're nurses, they're teachers, they're lecturers, they are lawyers, but almost all of us are somehow entrepreneurial, whether in property. So it's because of that environment. That's really what I can subscribe to. I've never, even when I started working, I've never not thought of starting my own business. It's always been something to say, it's good that I'm working, but I need to start something, because it's something that we grew up in an environment that encouraged it and we lived it. I mean, as I'm saying, all my school holidays were spent working. I've never had a holiday where it was just doing nothing. It was always going and working in one form or the other as soon as you could work. And then we were paid for that as well. And we learned from it in terms of how to manage and operate a business. It would have been different because we now more in the formal business sector, but they were in the semi-formal and informal businesses where it wasn't registered, but they were making money and they were able to live and build things from those businesses.
Yeah. You know, when you speak about your family, I can relate, because I also grew up with my grandmother. At some point, I had to go stay with my grandmother in the rural areas. And one of the things that right now, as I'm old, I'm reflecting on is my grandmother was a community leader. She was a leader at the church. The offering came to our house. We even had the keys. My grandfather was the elder. There was an old age home. My grandmother was part of the leaders there. There was a society. I don't know how to call it in English, but you know, when it's like a funeral, whatever. Funeral, they come together, contribute money, sorry, for the funeral. And my grandmother as well used to go to Durban to go stock like clothes and come and sell them in the rural area. So when I look back, in me being the way I'm a leader, I look back, I'm like, but this has always been in my family. I just don't know how. The difference is it skipped the generation of my mother and my uncles, and it went to us. Because when I look at us as me and my cousins, we sort of are doing what our grandmother used to do. Like for me, leading church, leading myself, like. But I grew up seeing this thing. I think that's how it got to me, because it was right in front of my eyes, but I just didn't realize it, you know. So, but I want to ask you about Phungela and why does it exist and how it started.
Okay. Phungela is a digital and business technology consulting company. So we are in the IT space, but in the niche market of digital transformation. So digital transformation is the use of technology to enable businesses basically to achieve great business results and also efficiencies and using technology. So we basically do that. And then we have three sort of pillars within the company. The first one, that we do IT consulting. So we provide strategy, ICT strategy, digital transformation strategies, IT consulting in terms of IT audits, IT governance, and all of that. And then secondly, we then provide, become an IT partner. So we partner with our clients where we provide IT solutions and like IT technology, software, and partner with them in terms of managing the project so that they can achieve the IT infrastructure that is necessary in order to be able to achieve the business goals. And then lastly, we're also a software developer. So we also develop our own software and applications as well, which we roll out to our own clients. For instance, we've got a document management system. We've got an enterprise resource plan that we're currently working with Oracle on. We've got a EKPI, what I call EKPI, a project and performance management system. We've got a risk management system that we're currently building at the moment. that's basically the three things that we do. So we provide consulting services, partner with our clients and manage IT projects, and then we also provide software solutions as well.
I don't know, you're breaking, maybe it's me, but you were breaking a bit as you were speaking there. There's some parts I didn't get, but
Okay.
I just want to ask you about, in terms of that, building Phungela and doing all the strategies and digital solutions, what have you found out that matters in terms of business? What have you found that matters?
I think what I found that matters is that the first thing you need to start. You can have good plans. You can have a world-class business plan, but starting is what is important. And secondly, start with what you have. Start with what you have. Go out there, look for opportunities, and use yourself. And network. Don't say, I will only start once I have 1, 2, and 3. Start with what you have. If you need to build relationships and alliances, so be it. If you need to build partnerships, so be it. But the critical thing for me, I think, is to go and start. And then once you've started, because you can start a business in your mind, but up until you've worked with the market and understand what the market wants, it'll then tell you how to finesse and how to change your business to make it something that is valuable in the market, and to identify what we call a UPS, your unique selling proposition.
Selling point. Yeah.
Yes. So you can only understand your USP through working in your business, meeting clients and understanding. I mean, when we started Phungela, it was just a consulting company where we did strategy, where we did digital transformation strategy and ICT strategy, and that was it. But we saw that if I come to under construction and I develop your digital transformation strategy, for example, I will only see you the following year. Now, what do I do during that process? Who do I see? Do I watch the ideas that we have developed, implemented by someone else, or do I become? And then I started saying, I want to become part of the ideas. Some of them, they're very excited. I want to see the ideas that we develop, because the strategy is all about ideas and implementation and execution. So I want to be part of the execution, because I want to see how these ideas are going to change your business, how these ideas are going to elevate your company. So, and then we then started going into IT consulting as well, where we then worked in the IT consulting space. And then we then said, it's not enough to now assist people and sell other people's ideas and software and programs. Let us now develop our own, where we can partner with our clients, because we understand what our client needs. And then we took it from there. So that's basically what I can suggest. The first thing is go out there and start. And then you will see that as you are going through, as difficult as it is, but you will then be able to identify a niche market that you can go in and play in.
Wow, I like that, because even me, when I was starting under construction SA, I had to learn things like USP, what you spoke about. If I didn't start, I wouldn't know, I'd still be stuck. And starting also helped me get into digital marketing, understanding digital marketing. You grow, like you said, you started doing one thing and then you moved on to another. It sharpened your skills, you grow as well. And I think I love what you said, because I found it also true in my life. So I want to ask you, in terms of businesses and as you are building this, what have you found the most challenging thing that you have come across, and how have you overcome that challenge?
It's getting your first client. That's the most challenging, I think. Yes, getting your client, your first client. Again, it's something that I said, go out there and partner with people. out, looked for people that are in the same industry as me, and said, what do you have? What do you not have? Can I give you what you don't have? And that's how I got my first client. It's through collaboration and working with people, as hard as it is. Also, I think, run away from the thinking that you will only be helped by people that are close to you. In more than one, for me, there's always been people that I don't know that are far from me that have been able to play a very big role in terms of assisting me. So again, it's always the difficult thing is getting your first paying client. Once you get your first person who's willing to pay, it validates the concept, it validates you, it validates that I'm actually doing something worthwhile. And then you then take it from there. And then from there, it then starts to trickle down and come in, and more people will be willing to pay as you are bettering your offering, basically.
Okay, wow. So I want to ask, since we are on the tip, a question that came to my mind is for young people that are watching, or people that are watching that want to go into business. What would you say are the 5 essential things that they should do?
5 essential things that I should do. Okay. Firstly, as I said, go and start. Secondly, build partnerships. Thirdly, once you get your first client, go out, register your business, formalize yourself, create that logo, create that business website, open that bank account, go and register the business, go and register with SARS, go and register with UIF, go and legitimize your business, have a company profile. So those are very critical steps once you've validated your business. Fourthly, I would say, go out, look for clients, have a go-to-market strategy, go out, invest in going out and looking for more business, because the best financing is always your clients paying you to grow your business, rather than going out and looking for funding and finance, because those will come at a later stage once you've secured the contracts, once you've secured enough clients and have cash flows and have management accounts and have all of that. And then fourthly, go open a bank account for yourself, pay yourself a salary, and treat your business as a company, not as a startup or as a small thing. The word SME must not apply to you. It can apply to programs that you're applying to, but do not have it in your mindset that I am an SME. Have a mindset that I am a company, I am building something that is big, so I must think big and not limit myself in terms of what I am doing. So go and, as I've said, open a bank account and you pay yourself a salary. Don't use the business's funds according to what you think needs to be done and for personal reasons. Plow back into feed your company, feed your business, plow back into it, plow resources into it, and then have proper financial management, because as you're growing, you'll find that you need to grow bigger and you need finance. And once you go out and look for finance, whether it is a loan or an equity funder, they will look at your financial documents. They will look at your finance. So you need to have everything in order. That's what I think is critical for me, that I would advise anyone who's starting a business.
I want to ask this. You spoke about thinking big and don't see yourself as a small business. Have you always thought of yourself like that? What informs what you just said, the mindset that you have in terms of, yes, I'm starting and I'm starting small, but I'm not small. I have a mindset of big, of being big.
Yes, definitely. I've always had that mindset. And this is not the first business that I've started. I've failed in other businesses that I've started because sometimes I wanted them to grow at a faster rate than what the business could. Sometimes the business was not conducive for me to be able to grow it. And it could only remain small, and I wanted to go big. So I then continuously looked at opportunities. And that's one thing that I can say about myself as well. As I said in the beginning, I am an opportunity seeker. I always look for opportunities. I think I can see an opportunity, I go in. So again, it's something for me is very important. If you failed, you are not a failure. The business failed. Go out there, learn your lesson, take what you can from that experience, and go and start something new. But being big-minded is not wrong. Starting small is good, but being big-minded is also good. The problem becomes when you want to start big, and you won't be able to start big. The critical things, start small with what you have, but think big.
Wow, you spoke about, I like the fact that you spoke about being an opportunist. And I came across a quote that says, successful people never complain about lack of opportunities, and which speaks to, I think, business people, because they go out and identify problems. They go out and identify how can I make the world better, right? And I think that's what I'm hearing from you. And another thing that stands out again is you saying, in regards to business, this is not your first business. Everyone that has come onto the platform under construction, they say, who have have, 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 have businesses who are some sort of successful right now, have the same story. This was not my first business. I started my business, I did nails, I did what. They were failing, but the ability that I admire is resilience and not quitting, because it's easy to quit. I like the quote Dr. John C. Maxwell actually says, in terms of, you were speaking about how someone was using an axe to hammer a tree. I don't know, it's not hammer, English, I don't have the English word, but he was using an axe on a tree. And it says, it might take time. We might not know when the tree is going to fall. We might not know when you're going to reach your breakthrough. But if you continue being consistent, at some point, you're going to be successful. But if you stop, it's a guaranteed failure. So you reminded me some sort of those thoughts. And, I'm really grateful to have people like you who really speak to what we are about as a construction essay, because we're trying to inspire young people from different industries. We're trying to say, what, here are people who are successful, here are the stories to encourage yourself and to inspire yourself. And if it's your first time watching our podcast, man, we are here, like as I've said, that we are a podcast called Under Construction Essay. We profile young people on the come up from different industries, and as well as people who are expert and seasoned in their industry, so that we can learn from them. So our platform is to expose and to inspire young people. And one of the things we dream, I always speak about this, we dream of going to the rural areas and the townships, to also empower and expose young people to different career paths, and to inform them so that they can be inspired and change their lives. As Thuso, this is why I do what I do. I love what I do. But every Sunday, we hear 5 p.m. Click on that subscription button, click on that notification button. Share with everyone that you know about Under Construction. They say someone that will benefit from us, So, yeah.
Yes. And it's also been a great opportunity for me to come and have this conversation with you, Thuso. And I'm expecting Under Construction to grow and do great things as well.
Thank you very much. So we are honored to have you. We are privileged to have people like you to come and share things. I love the conversation that we've been having about starting small, thinking big. And now I want to go, writing off of that, I want to go into which field do you think in the next 50 years is going to dominate?
I would say technology.
Why?
Because it's intricate in our day-to-day life. It's becoming more dominant, and we're becoming, for instance, we're now having restaurants that don't have tellers, where you just go in online and you place an order in one of those screens, When I'm traveling, sometimes there's self-checkout counters where you buy your groceries, you scan them, and then you put them out. In other countries, unlike South Africa, you find that they have you pay for your own fuel and put it in your vehicle without having to have a petrol attendant, someone that's going to help you. So I think technology is going to play a very big role it's particularly artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, and the cloud as well. So everything is moving in that direction. I mean, you've got cars that are driverless now. So that is going to become more and more. And all of these things are having technology at the base of them. I mean, look at Uber. Whoever thought that you can call a car with your phone with not having to talk to anyone and not pay anything, and it's deducted directly from your account. Look at Netflix. Look at WhatsApp, where we can have WhatsApp calls at a much more cheaper rate than a normal telephone. Who sends an SMS now? So imagine now if in 10 years ago, you didn't have WhatsApp. What's going to happen in 20 years, in 30 years, in 40 years, in 50 years? So I think tech definitely is going to be dominating over and above the financial industry, agriculture, which is food, because we all need to eat, but also there's tech now where they're growing pieces of meat without having to be on a farm. So, but I think just tech is going to be the biggest thing in the next half a century.
You speak about tech and it being it's going to take over, but there's a lot of fears, and I think specifically in South Africa, where if robots are going to take over, isn't that going to result in a high unemployment rate? I mean, we already have a high unemployment rate in South Africa. Is that not going to affect us worse? Is that not going to get worse?
It depends. I mean, the two things that happen in tech that I've seen is that you either become in front of the curve or behind it. When you're in the front, you can lead, but if you're at the back of it, it's pulling you. And when it's pulling you, you cannot fully harness and use that opportunity to learn, grow, and to use it to your own advantage. So whether you like it or not, it's going to come. It's a matter of you using that. I mean, there's countries that have just said by 2030, they don't want vehicles that use fossil fuels like petrol. So what's going to happen if you're an oil-producing country? That's why you find your Saudi Arabias, your United Emirates that are diversifying from oil, because they understand that the century of oil is going to be finished at one point in time, and all of us are going to be going towards non-fossil fuel vehicles or EVs, electrical vehicles. So that's tech. And now, even an electronic vehicle, the components of such batteries are here in Africa, partly in South Africa, Congo. So if we at the back, you cannot harness that to our own advantage. But if we are leading and driving the sector through innovation, through our own innovation, then we can definitely explore. And then, for instance, I'll give an example. Before emails, we used to send memos to each other in the same building, and you'll find that there was a messenger. There's no longer a messenger now. When I say messenger to a person who was born after the year 2000, they'll think you're talking about Facebook Messenger. But there was actually a job called a messenger. So innovation is going to come, change is going to come. But if we want to deal with unemployment in South Africa, we need to be able to be at the front of it and do what India has done. Look at India. All the big CEOs in tech in the US are from India.
Yeah.
Look at Twitter, just been bought by Elon Musk, but the previous CEO was Indian. Look at all these tech companies, big tech companies, all the India. Do you know why? India invested so much in technology from primary school to high school to university. And that's why you find that if you are talking to someone from a bank or a financial institution or a company in London, you will not go to London. The call is going to go to India. And the consultant, that's the help desk that's going to help you is from India. If you are doing business with a big company, there is a 70% chance that the person who is processing your invoice is based at an Indian office where they've got a finance team that has replaced certain South African companies are doing that now. So it's India has embraced technology and they've used it as part of their education system, which has then yielded the result that you see now, where they've got software developers, they've got front-end developers, they've got UIX developers, they've got different types of systems and processes that are being developed there, and technology that's being developed there purely because they invested in it. So it's the investment part of it. If we invest in the youth and train them and offer them opportunities to be exposed to technology, then we will be at the front. But if we continue as if everything is normal and teach people the more subjects that you are teaching them in high school and primary school, and only focus, which is good, on literacy, on numeracy, which is good, but we also now need to have a third component to our education, which is technology. Yeah, I think that's the best way that we can be at the front of the curve, not at the back.
The downside of this is I hear you, but then we lack visionary leaders in South Africa, unfortunately. Or not that we lack. I think we have visionary leaders. Actually, let me not say the people that are in power, which are our politicians, lack vision, and that's where the problem is, right? And you see, like you speaking about the UAE, where they are positioning themselves, even tourism-wise, and things that they're building, you watch and you admire. Now you're speaking about India. These are people that are not looking at the now. They're thinking, this is where the future is heading. Let's prepare for it to avoid disaster, right? So I think, for us as South Africans, we need to do better in terms of and I think that the onus is on us to select better leaders, people with visions, people that are going to take the country forward and are just not about themselves and what they can do, what they can, empowering and enriching themselves and their friends. We need to think beyond today and think about 50 years from now. What are the children going to inherit? What are the next generation going to inherit? But I think we have a mindset that we want to eat. We don't want to make a sacrifice of, let's sacrifice ourselves as a seed and make sure that the next generation will benefit. But that's a conversation for another day. I wanted to ask you, in the past 10 years, what is the biggest thing that you've changed your mind
about? I really don't think I can say one. I'm always persuaded, but let me think on one. One thing that I've changed my mind on, generally, or just in business.
It can be in business, it can be general. It's fine.
Okay. One thing that I've changed my mind on. I would say that I've changed my mind on when I started. I always thought that I'm going to have a good idea and someone is going to finance my idea and it's going to go big. That's what I always had my mind on. But in the last 10 years, as you've said, I have come to change my mind to say, no, that doesn't happen. I need to build, I need to create value, and my value will then attract funding or opportunities for people who want to fund me. And then I think that's the biggest thing that has changed my mind. I used to listen when people said, no, we've got a youth fund. It's going to help you apply, come with your idea. And I put all the documents together and I submit and I pray and I wait. And I said, oh, this must work. This must work. Up until I saw, no, this is not a work. I've been at this for a long time. Actually, no matter how good their intentions are, everyone who gives you money wants to see that there's a high probability that they will get their money back. So if you don't have a concept that has been vetted or that has been checked, that has been balanced, that it is going to return the funds that were pumped in, then you definitely will not have. So that's one thing that I think I changed my mind on. I changed my mind on quite a number of things, and I've got things that I've never changed my mind on. But on that one, I think that is what has changed in the last 10 years.
Yes. Proof of concept, that's what they say. Proof of concept before.
Yes.
You must prove that this thing works, you know. The late Dr. Motsomane says, how are you expecting people to invest in something that you're not willing to put your money in, you know? So put your money, take a risk with your own money. When people have seen that you try, because it shows that you don't trust your idea. Why are you not willing to put your own money? You know,
exactly.
So yeah, things like that. So yeah, I love what the point that you just gave. It's a very brilliant point. We have this section on under construction essay, which I really love, which means we are going towards the end. And if you were to describe your life right now using a song, what song would it be? And please sing the chorus for
us. Yo, that's difficult. I'm a book. If you said at least a book, then I would understand. But a song, I'm not. Let me think.
Can you give us a book?
Okay, I would say if I would describe myself as a book, I would give me 2 seconds. I just want to check the out of the 5 books that I read, which one that I like mostly. I'll tell you now. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just thinking.
Then it's fine. We can.
I would say. I'm trying to think. They've really caught me off guard with that one.
Okay, let's make it easier. What books would you recommend? What are the books that you recommend to someone that wants to be in business or just generally in life? Books that you think people should read?
I would say I used to read a lot of John Smith. So I would say there's 5 levels of leadership. That's one of his books that I like reading. And also Leadership 101. That's another book that I just recently read. And also there's this book by Barack Obama, his life story and his biography. I forgot the name of the biography. That's the one that I wanted. Actually, I was describing myself as someone who I was just looking for the name of the book. Yeah, so those are the 3 books I think I would recommend to anyone to read.
Wow. I think John Motsomane is a very. I have the 8 pillars of excellence, which is also a leadership book. I've listened to the series of the 5 levels of leadership. I didn't read the book. I've listened to the series. He's a brilliant guy when it comes to leadership. He's like the go-to guy in terms of leadership. he shaped the way I think in terms of how I see leadership. It's not more about me, it's more about me serving people and valuing people. I like him when he speaks about that. Every day he looks for people that he can add value and people that he can value. I think he speaks about 5 things. And one of the things that I don't forget is he always looks to find and add value and also value people. So those are things that stand out. So finally, as we head out, what is your message to the youth of South Africa and the world?
Don't stop dreaming. Continue dreaming and go out there. Once you've done dreaming, go out there and make your dreams come true.
Wow, that's amazing. You heard him. He said, don't stop dreaming. That was with Nkululeko Mhlaba, the managing director of Phungela. Thank you, sir, for coming through. Thank you for honoring us with your presence and affording us your time. We trust that a lot of people are going to enjoy and learn from your experiences and what you've dropped here. And to those who are watching, every time, 5 p.m., every Sunday, 5 p.m., we are here. Click on that subscription button, click on the notification button. Let people know about us. And before we go on, I want to tell a story. I was in Bible school, I remember, in the Eastern Cape, East London, to be specific. And we were in the back of a car with a friend of mine, was in Bible school. So as we were in the back of a car, that friend of mine, I think we were collecting, someone was donating to the church. So as they were donating to the church, someone was donating things to the church. So this guy tells me a story of how he didn't have money to pay Bible school. And then he decided to tell his next door neighbor that because he has land and he's not using it in Joburg, can he please borrow him the space? And then he said yes. He built a shack or shacks, couple of shacks. Then he rented the shacks out. After renting the shacks out, he then paid. That's how he was paying his Bible school tuition fees. So I just wanted to leave us with that story. For me, my name is Thuso Motsomane. I look forward to seeing you next time. This has been Under Construction USA. We out.